Sora was the most viral AI launch in history. I mean, it was a tool that literally promised to change Hollywood forever. But what if, in the blink of an eye, it was just gone? It sounds totally unthinkable, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a what-if scenario and explore the very real reasons a tech giant like OpenAI might just pull the plug on a world-changing product like Sora.
Imagine waking up to this. A sudden, shocking post that sends shockwaves through the entire tech and creative world. No warning, no slow phase-out, just a final, kind of cryptic goodbye. The question on absolutely everyone's mind would be, why?
And you know, if we were to map out a potential timeline for this whole thing, it would look incredibly fast. I mean, from a world-stopping debut to a hypothetical billion-dollar Disney deal and then a complete shutdown, all in about 2 years. It's a classic story of hero to zero, but happening at like hyperspeed. So to really understand why this could happen, we kind of need to do a post-mortem before the fact. We're going to investigate the financial pressures. We're going to follow the money trail, and we'll uncover the potential strategy shifts that could hypothetically seal Sora's fate. First off, let's be really clear about the scale of a move like this. This wouldn't be just, retiring an old feature. It would mean erasing Sora from existence. We're talking the apps, the website, the API that developers use, even the cool little version inside ChatGPT. Everything. A total strategic retreat. So what's the first clue in this mystery? Well, as it almost always does, it comes down to money. And the estimated numbers behind running a tool like Sora are, well, they're absolutely staggering. Okay, get ready for this one. At its absolute peak, analysts estimate it could cost OpenAI $15 million per day just to keep the servers running. That is the insane price tag for generating all of that hyper-realistic video on a global scale. And if you scale that up over a year, you are looking at a potential annual burn rate of over $5.4 billion. I mean, that's more than the GDP of some small countries, all being spent on a single product. It would basically be a financial black hole. But here's the number that could be the final nail in the financial coffin. Even with the most optimistic projections for revenue, from subscriptions and credits, it would likely cover less than 1% of its massive running costs. It's a business model that is fundamentally just spectacularly broken. In this slide, it just visualizes the problem perfectly. That tiny little sliver on the left, that could be all the money it ever makes. And that absolute skyscraper on the right, that's the cost to run it for just 1 year. You definitely don't need an MBA to see this equation just doesn't work. But this story isn't just about the insane cost. An expense this massive could force OpenAI to make a really, really hard choice. They could decide to pivot, and pivot hard away from fun consumer toys and towards a much, much bigger prize. And this just brilliantly lays out that potential change. The old goal might seem huge, compete with TikTok using AI videos. But the real goal, the new focus, could be building the foundational AI for achieving artificial general intelligence and powering real-world robots. It's a massive shift from entertainment to enterprise, from pixels to physics. Now, the key to this whole new strategy is something called world models. And this means the tech behind Sora isn't dead at all. It's just repurposed. So think of it this way. Instead of just creating a picture of a ball bouncing, it's about understanding gravity and friction and force, so it can teach a robot how to actually bounce a ball in the real world. This massive strategic shift would likely be centered around their next big secret project. Let's just call it Project Spud for fun. So what on earth would be more important than the most advanced video generator on the planet? So here's the crucial point. Their next big thing, this Project Spud, would likely be a model like GPT-6, and it's an AI designed to be agentic. That means it can actually complete complex tasks in the physical world. In this whole scenario, OpenAI would kill Sora just to reallocate all of its incredibly expensive GPU resources to train this new model, because they'd see it as the real path to AGI. But a decision this huge isn't just about costs and secret AGI roadmaps. A few other really high-profile failures could create the perfect storm, making the decision to shut Sora down a whole lot easier. For example, a huge casualty could be a blockbuster partnership, maybe something like a hypothetical Disney deal. Just imagine a $1 billion agreement that lets you create videos with Marvel characters or Star Wars characters. If OpenAI were to suddenly pivot its strategy, a deal like that would be voided overnight, and it would be a very, very public failure. And at the exact same time, you'd probably see the user hype just fade away fast.
After hitting #1 in the App Store, engagement could fall off a cliff as people get tired of what they start calling AI slop. Videos that are technically amazing but just lack a human soul. It's totally plausible that downloads could crash by 2/3 in just a few months.
And what about the thousands of creators who would build their entire businesses around Sora? For them, a shutdown would be a brutal, painful lesson in something called vendor lock-in. It's that massive risk you take when your entire workflow depends on one company's tool, which can just disappear without any warning.
But this slide really shows the path forward for those creators. The market isn't just standing still. Competitors like Google's Veo, Kling AI, and Runway would have all matured, offering these powerful, open alternatives for professionals who now suddenly understand the real danger of relying on a single, closed platform.
So, what would the hypothetical death of a product like Sora mean for the bigger picture? Well, it would signal a massive, massive turning point for the entire AI industry.
The key takeaway is this: the era of just cool tech demos is over. We would be officially in the ROI phase, return on investment. Investors and companies would no longer just be asking, what can it do? They'd be asking, does it have a sustainable business model?
And that really means the focus of AI is growing up. It's shifting away from simply generating more content and moving towards automating real, physical work and solving complex business problems. It's a serious move from the digital world into the physical one.
Okay, so to sum all this up, a Sora scenario like this shows that amazing tech is pretty worthless without a viable business plan. It suggests the whole industry is pivoting hard from consumer fun to serious enterprise tools. For creators, the lesson is crystal clear. Never, ever get locked into a single vendor. And finally, it shows how the intense race for AGI is forcing these companies to make absolutely ruthless choices.
Which leaves us with one last provocative question to think about. Would the failure of a tool like Sora signal the end of the big AI bubble? Or would it actually be the moment the industry stopped playing with toys and began the serious work of truly changing our physical world? That's definitely something to chew on.